Welcome to Tantrum Mouse Studio D. I'm Kevin Delp.
And I'm Melissa Delp.
Today we're looking at Rising 5, Runes of Asteros. Rising 5, published by Grey Fox Games, is a co-op puzzle deduction game for 1 to 5 players, and it takes about 30 minutes to play.
You're playing as heroes trying to save the world by finding the runes of Asteros to seal the gate from letting in unspeakable monsters. You'll need to find the right rune combination before the character deck runs out or before the eclipse marker makes it to total eclipse.
Let's look at the components. There's the main game board, character standees, cards, rune tiles, the eclipse marker, astrological symbol tokens, cubes, combat die, and a companion app.
Throughout the video, we're going to make references to the companion app. It's going to randomly assign those astrological symbols to each rune and then use that information for the puzzle. Now, you don't have to use the app. If you don't, you're going to have a player be the game master, and that person's going to know the combination. They'll give you hints and answers, but they won't be able to play along.
During setup, players are dealt a certain number of character cards depending on player count. Then you insert red moon cards into the deck. You'll space them out evenly, kind of like epidemics and pandemic. The more you put in, the harder the game will be. When you're ready to start playing, you'll use the app to take a picture of the 4 runes that you've randomly placed at the gate. It will identify the astrological symbols and tell you how many belong in the puzzle. 2 don't even belong in this puzzle, but you don't know which symbol goes with which rune.
On your turn, you can activate one character by discarding their cards from your hand. The number of cards you discard determines how many actions you can take. You have 3 options for each action. Move to a location, encounter something at that location, like fighting a monster or gaining a reward. Or, if 4 green cubes have been gathered, you can try to seal the gate by checking the rune combination with the app.
But before you actually take your actions, you can use the activated character's special ability. Oracle can swap runes. Hal can copy the special power of another character at his location. Ellie can move the eclipse marker up. Nova gets a free fight roll, and Echo can move other characters.
Collecting green cubes is incredibly important. Sometimes you can pick them up as rewards or from items, but usually you have to fight monsters for them. To fight a monster at your location, you roll the combat die. If you match or exceed the monster's strength, you win the combat. Before you roll, other players can add to your combat strength by discarding cards from their hand that match the character you're using.
At the end of your turn, you decide how many cards to draw from the character deck, 1 or more. Drawing up to your hand limit gives you a lot of options, but it can also be risky. If you reveal a red moon crisis happens at the end of the next player's turn. The eclipse marker will go down a number of spaces equal to the moon showing on the visible monsters. If it reaches the bottom of the track, you immediately lose.
So you have to work together to keep that eclipse marker up, to manage the monsters, collect those green cubes, and of course solve the rune puzzle. You'll get some extra info to help you out with those deductions by collecting clues and by testing the puzzle with the Seal the Gate action. The app gives you information every time you take a picture of the runes on the board. If it shows a dark symbol, the rune is not part of the combination. If it's shining, the rune is in the puzzle, but not in the right spot. If it's golden, the rune is in the correct position.
Once all 4 are golden, the players immediately win. The app will give you a score based on the player count, amount of time spent playing, and number of cards left in the character deck. So far, B+++ has been our best score.
As a kid, I played a deduction game called Mastermind a lot, and Rising 5 has a similar feel, but it has a little bit more game to it.
Yeah, figuring out that puzzle was really fun to me, and there's so many different cards in the game, the character cards, and there's these relic cards, and one's a sword that you can kill a monster with.
I was super excited for this game because I love deduction games like Alchemist, but honestly, I was actually a little disappointed. I think I was expecting something more heavy and challenging, and this just didn't make it up to that level. It's kind of light feeling to me. I thought that there would be a lot of strategy with those character cards and deciding how to play them, but For me, the best moves were usually pretty obvious, and the initial setup gives you access to a free cube, a clue, and even an artifact card, so I thought it was a little easy.
Although we haven't scored an A yet, so the game might not be about winning or losing, but how efficient you can be with those cards. I mean, I do agree it's light, but it's maybe reminds me a little bit of other co-op games like Pandemic and how light they are. Now, I'm a fanboy of Vincent Dutrait and his illustrations. The art is what ties the theme into the gameplay. Find the runes and fight the monsters to save Asteros. The characters, the cards, the board, they all fit together with those illustrations.
I wanted to mention that the app integrates well with the game, but we did run across a few bugs using our Android phone. It had trouble distinguishing between the dark blue and the teal runes, so instead of using the picture option, we manually selected the runes.
I'm glad they have that option.
Yeah, it was a simple workaround, but I hope they do update the app soon.
So if you like puzzly deduction games like Alchemist, but you're looking for something a little lighter and co-op, then check out Rising 5 by Gray Fox Games at your local game store. Welcome to Tangent Mouse Studio D. I'm Kevin Delp.
And I'm Melissa Delp.
Today we're... What did I usually say today we're looking at?
Mm-hmm.
Today we're looking at...
Looking
What
at
do
you,
I...
kid.
Do I say preview? Do I say review? Do I say... Hey, go subscribe over here.
How do you pronounce this? We don't